Prensi, Associate Professor in Management, Marketing, and Supply Chain.
Thank you, Christina, and good morning and welcome to everybody. First, let me say I'm the former chair of Management, Marketing, and Supply Chain. Dr. Charlie Watts couldn't make it today because he's participating as a parent of an incoming John Carroll student. So we have several faculty members here. I'm not sure if we'll be able to introduce them all, but let me just go through a quick list. And in fact, if the faculty members can briefly unmute yourselves to say hi as I announce your names. We have Dr. Robert Arias.
Hello.
And Dr. Stacy Astrov. I'm just going alphabetically here. And just so you know, we have management, marketing, supply chain, entrepreneurship, ethics faculty here with us today. So Dr. Stacy Astrov.
Hi.
We have Dr. Sebastian Brockhaus.
Good morning.
Dr. Tina Fakamis.
Hello.
Dr. Bob Giacalone.
Hello.
Dr. Alina Marcoletu.
Morning.
Dr. Rosanna Miguel.
Hello.
Dr. Charlie Palmieri. Charlie, you there?
I'm
He's
here.
there. Oh, there he is. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Dr. Al Wu.
Hi, everyone.
And Dr. Miranda Yin.
Hello, everyone.
We also have two students with us, Morgan and Lily. Both of you can say hi now if you want, but we'll also introduce you later.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Lily. And Morgan, are you there too?
Hi.
All right, great. Did I miss anybody from John? Oh, and Mrs. Laura Atkins from the Dean's office joined us as well, the Assistant Dean who takes care of a lot of the academic advising and other things that you will be involved with as soon as you come into John Carroll. Laura, are you there?
Good morning. Yep, I'm here. Good morning.
All right,
welcome,
great.
everyone.
Okay, great. So first, let me say very quickly, we're going to do a quick run through of what I'll roughly refer to as kind of half of the Boler College in terms of, let's just think of this as the non-financial majors here represented. And we're just roughly dividing this in half. So you have management, marketing, supply chain. The entrepreneurship minor is represented here. And we also have the international business group represented here. That said, don't get overwhelmed by the information you're going to see. You know, most of you are 18 years old. You're early in the process here. This is a process. And what we're going to do is just give you a very brief overview, but we're here to help you. We're here to help you learn. We're going to give you bits and pieces along the way, and you're going to pick up bits and pieces. So again, don't get overwhelmed. We're not going to lock you into a specific major right now. You have plenty of time to choose your major. Maybe you're interested in business. Maybe you know that you're going to do business, but ultimately you have time. You have the first year here, the second year here. You will be able to see what's going on before anybody tries to say, okay, well, this is definitely your major. You have time to think about this. And so we're here to just try to give you some information. And that's something special about John Carroll. Christina referred to that. Ultimately, we are here to help you, and you're going to get a lot of help at John Carroll if you do decide to come here. So that said, let me introduce the first group, which is the Management and Human Resource group, and they will give you a couple-minute overview of their major. Stacy, why don't you go ahead and come on in?
Yes, hi. So thank you, Rick. So like Rick said, I'm Stacy Astrov. And so within Management and Human Resources, or MHR, we talk a lot about fit. So, you know, when we're hiring new employees, we're very interested, do they fit with the organization? Do their interests, do their skills fit with the job that we're selecting them for? So similarly, this is very important when you're selecting a major, when you're selecting a university. You want to do something that fits with you, with your interests, your values, your personality. You want to go somewhere that you're going to want to invest a lot of time in. So I'll give you an idea of what MHR looks like. So we like to say in MHR, we're sort of the heart of the organization. We focus on the human capital or the people aspect of the organization. So if you choose to be an MHR major, you will learn best practices for attracting, selecting, retaining employees for a position, training those employees, providing effective feedback so that they can improve within their positions, compensating, and putting into place sort of overall practices that really motivate employees to be sort of the best possible contributors to the organization. So if this is something that interests you, MHR might be a good fit. So Christina, if you could go to the next slide. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about in-class opportunities. So I came to Boler 3 years ago, And I was just blown away by the amount of experiential activities our students are involved in, where they can put into practice a lot of what we learn in the classroom, for future careers. So for example, and this is just a couple examples, in my compensation class right now, students are designing a pay system for a fictional engineering company. I know in training and development, students pick an organization on campus that has a need for a new training program, and they actually go in and design that training program, which is really fun to watch, and to watch those final outputs for that. We have designed our entire curriculum around the Society for Human Resource Management's competency model. So SHRM is an international human resource organization for human resource managers. So we're really interested in trying to make sure that what our students are learning, they're going to be able to put it in place when they go into a future organization. They're very prepared to actually put into practice what they've learned at John Carroll. So along with that, we have a SHRM chapter that's run by students. So they do a lot of speaker events, conferences, networking events. So that's something that our students really enjoy getting involved in, and also provides additional opportunities for our students. And then if you could go to the next slide, Christina. So we have a quote here from Mike Quinn. So he is the Senior VP and CHRO at Nova Solutions, which is pretty, not too far away from John Carroll. He's an adjunct professor for us and represents a lot of the relationships we have with local organizations. So he and his organization do a lot to support our students. They provide excellent opportunities to get involved. So for example, they involve our students. So every fall, it's called Fabulous Friday. And it's basically an assessment center where students go in and help run the assessment center, and they can see what it looks like to actually select employees in a real life organization. So, and I would say they're, just an example of what other organizations also provide for our students as well. And then the last slide here. So this is just a snapshot of future careers in MHR. So I always tell my students, my HR students, they're probably sick of hearing this actually, that regardless of what they decide to do for their future career, the skills, the knowledge that they learn within MHR is applicable to any job. So if you are, if you're planning to manage employees, if you're planning just to be an employee within an organization, you're going to need these skills that you learn within MHR beyond that. So you'll need those what we teach in MHR. So hopefully this quick intro has given you some information on what MHR looks like, to see if it's actually a good fit for you. Let me know if you have any future questions today, and then also feel free to email me after this event. My email is sastrove@jcu.edu.
Thank you, Stacy. And so let's go into marketing with Dr. Miranda Yin. And remember, let's keep this to 2 to 3 minutes. We got a lot of people to talk, and we want to answer some questions as well. Go ahead, Miranda.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Miranda Yin. I graduated from the University of Kansas with my PhD. So I'm sure a lot of you are interested in marketing, right? And you desire to know more about marketing. So what is marketing? Marketing is not just about selling products to consumers. We marketers aim to create and communicate values. So we would like to transform consumers' lives, and we also care about their welfare. Next slide, please. So there's a stereotype that marketing is just about sales, right? But that's not so at all. Sales is a big part of marketing, but marketing is also about consumer behavior. So to understand how and why consumers behave, and then use strategies to influence their behaviors, right? And there's also digital marketing. So we live in this digital world. We will learn how to create a digital and social media campaign. For example, how to create a Facebook ad, right? And then marketing also include data analytics. So nowadays, all companies are talking about big data, right? So we will learn how to analyze data. You will learn the data analytical skills as well as research skills. And marketing also include the global aspect. So you will learn how to do business internationally, and also learn about different cultures. In addition to that, marketing also include advertising promotions, which is a big part of marketing. So we offer all these different classes. So what you see on the screen is just a glimpse of what we offer. Okay. Next slide, please. So when you take class, we also provide information and help you to prepare to get some useful certificates you can put on your resume. So these are professional certificates that will come handy when you work for a company in the future. Okay, next slide, please. Also, we incorporate hands-on projects, which means that you're not gonna just work on some imagined scenarios. We collaborate with both for-profit and nonprofit companies. So that will provide you with real practice experiences. So you are gonna practice what you learned in class. Next slide, please. So John Carroll Boler College of Business, we have so many outstanding graduates, and a lot of them were able to get their dream jobs, including startup jobs in the Fortune 500 companies. So you can see here, IBM, Cleveland Clinic, etc. Next slide, please. So here are some contact information of our marketing faculties. So you can see our emails are there. Please feel free to send us an email. And the last thing I want to mention is that if you want a job that you will be passionate about the rest of your life, marketing is definitely the way to go. Right? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miranda. And next up will be Dr. Sebastian Brockhouse with Supply Chain Management. Let's remember 2 to 3 minutes. Got a lot to cover.
Good morning. So supply chain is one of those topics that a lot of people don't initially know what that means. And I was contacted by several friends and also colleagues over the last weeks who said, man, I have not heard the term supply chain as often in the news as, recently. And obviously right now in the situation that we're in, the idea of supply chain is to get things from the production to the consumer effectively. And when that gets more difficult because we're on lockdown and a lot of businesses aren't operating regularly, then we suddenly see the smooth machine that's been running in the system all these years, or behind the system all these years. And so it's overseeing the production, or from sourcing to manufacturing to distribution, and never the same day twice when you're working in it. Fastest growing field in the business area. Great placement compensation opportunities. We have a recruiter who's part of our supply chain club, a regular talks to our students, and his line is always, if you graduate with a supply chain degree, you're going to have to try really hard not to get hired. So it's a very fast growing field, and exciting because you are at the core of the organization, and without a functioning supply chain that gets a product designed, manufactured, and delivered to the consumer, all of the other areas, all the accountants, the marketers, the MHR people, you wouldn't need any of those if you don't have a functioning supply chain. Can we go to the next slide, please? And so one of the things, and this absolutely pertinent right now, we call that a future-proof career, because you will be the driver of creating more efficiencies. You're not going to be automated away, but help automation along the way so we can operate more efficiently. If you like to travel, you want to work internationally, this is the field for you, because supply chain is the same everywhere, and so those skills really translate. And then the last thing, and we talked about marketing, there is a double major in supply chain and marketing. Most of our supply chain students, about 75%, have that double major. You only need to take 2 extra classes. You get 2 majors for the price of 1. So great deal on that side.
And before you forward the slides here, let me interrupt. And that's a picture of our department chair, Dr. Charlie Watts, laying on the floor with a team of students who were at a supply chain competition. So having some fun.
The picture beforehand was my team going to another supply chain competition where we had to do the pyramid to try to top this picture. But Charlie's laying on the floor is definitely hard to top.
Thank you, Sebastian. I think, is that it for supply chain there? Yes. And so before we go into entrepreneurship, we do have Morgan here, who was in the MHR department, I believe as an HR student. You want to give just a very quick nugget of information for the students to take away?
Yeah, so hi, I'm a senior currently at John Carroll. I am an MHR major. I'm also a leadership development minor, so shout out to Kyle Odell, I see you on the call. So yeah, the major for MHR is amazing. I've learned so much. I've had 3 different internship opportunities while my time at John Carroll. As a freshman, I got recruited. So really the sky's the limit with this major. You get so many wonderful opportunities to go into businesses, meet the people, and see the heart of a business. So I can't speak highly enough about it. There's so many great opportunities, especially after grad, right? We go to college to get a job, and unfortunately, even with the craziness that's happening in the world right now, I've accepted a position as an HR specialist, and I'll be getting my my 5th year MBA at John Carroll as well. So it's a wonderful program, wonderful professors, and you learn a lot, and you really get to experience what business is all about. You're not pigeonholed into one area. You get to see a lot. So I can't speak highly enough of it, but choose it. It's fun. You learn a lot.
Thank you, Morgan. And by the way, you'd hear the same kind of testimony from the marketing supply chain majors, but we just don't have enough room and time to cover everybody. But thank you, Morgan. Very well said. So let's move on to entrepreneurship and Dr. Doan Winkle.
Morning, everybody. So super quick, entrepreneurship is a minor at John Carroll, and so any student can take it. For business students, it would be an additional 4 classes and you get the minor. And our approach to entrepreneurship is a little different here. We don't approach it in terms of starting a business. Instead, what we do is look at the skills and the ways of thinking that people use to start and grow successful businesses, and we teach you those through experiences and through practice, so that you're actually developing hard skills around solving problems, identifying opportunities, communication, telling stories, working on ideas, those kind of things, through design thinking and a variety of other strategies. But it's very, very problem-based. It's very experiential. You learn by doing with ideas that you're interested and passionate about, and then also with partners in the community, in the greater Cleveland community that we work on. And then we have a lot of other sort of extracurricular things, events, and ways to plug people in and get mentorship with people who started, run, and grow successful businesses.
All right. Thank you very much, Doan. And also to note that Dr. Winkle has recently developed a new Master's of Science in Entrepreneurship and Innovative Thinking to be launched, I believe, this coming fall. So always making forward progress.
Launched this fall, so you can stick around for an extra year and get a master's degree as well.
Right.
Thank you very much. All right, and so let's turn this over for a few minutes to Dr. Walter Simmons, also an Associate Dean, to talk about international business.
Good morning, parents and students. It's a privilege to have you here. International business is one of our youngest major. And if you are indeed interested in international cultures, international travel, working for international organizations, this is the ideal major for you. It involves a lot of global engagement. One of our highlights is students are able to spend an entire semester in a foreign country, such as Germany, Spain, Italy, Japan, South Korea, China, Peru. Our students also have an opportunity to do an international internship in those countries. So our major combines domestic and international. Most of our students go on to work with some type of international agency or in a multinational company in different countries. So today, what I'm going to do, I wouldn't go to the next slide, but what I'm going to do, we have one of our students here. Those are some of our faculty that are involved in our international. And this is just some of the things that we do as an international. One of the highlights of our class is we have a capstone class where our students get to work on a project taking a domestic company internationally. And this is our curriculum. But today I have one of our students here, Lilia. She's one of our seniors, and she did her international travels in Peru. So Lily, why don't you come in and talk a little bit about your experience as an international student?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lilia. I'm a senior IBLC major. I'm also minoring in Spanish and history. And I spent a semester in Lima, Peru at Universidad del Pacífico. And so I studied and traveled around there, and I lived in a house with people from all over the world. I have friends in France and Spain. I've been talking to them a lot, actually, about everything that's been going on. It's been really interesting to be able to talk to people from all over the world about the situation currently. And then when I came back, I interned last semester with an international company that specializes in publicity. So I worked here in Cleveland. It's called Allied Global Marketing. And so now I'm currently in the capstone course. And so we're actually taking a local company called Alexi Metals. They're a metal refinery company, and we're expanding their business to Poland. So we're currently doing that and still kind of trying to do it. It's normally very direct that we are interacting with the company. So we actually, before everything happened, we got to go visit their company and tour everything. So we've been trying to, you know, contact them through Zoom and everything. But like, I'm on the numbers team. So my group is currently working on actually like creating different financial projections for their business in Poland. We have a culture team that does culture research, and we do different marketing things. And it's kind of like a report that's into six different parts. We all work collaboratively. So it's a smaller major, so you kind of get to know everyone that's in it. There are 10 people in my capstone course, and we all work really closely together. We have a group message, and we're all pretty good friends, and it's been really nice to share our experiences as students abroad and to really grow really closely together. And I think it's a very special major in that you do have the language component, and we all kind of became very language proficient. And we have all of these crazy experiences and things that have helped us grow as John Carroll students. So.
Thank you, Lilia. I'm going to turn it back over to Christina. We're starting to run out of time. We only have 7 minutes left. And I know she wants to go into Q&A, but let me just wrap it up by saying to the students and parents, a lot of you are in the same boat. You know you're interested in business. You think you're interested in business. You're not quite sure what you want to do. This is just the very first baby step in trying to understand what's going on and what you might study and how you might approach it. So again, don't get overwhelmed. You're collecting information, and you will continue to collect information, and we are here to help you. So let me turn it over to Christina.
Hi again, everybody. I first want to thank all of our faculty and awesome students for sharing more information about our programs, and to our students for sharing more about their experiences. We are excited to go ahead and kick off the question and answer portion of our session this morning. But before we officially do that, I just want to share 2 notes. First, that we will handle the question and answers through the chat feature. So if you have a question that you would like to ask about any of the programs, or a question that you'd like to ask any of our students and faculty, please go ahead and use the chat feature, and I'll be fielding those. I also want to mention that we'll be kicking off our next round of question and answer sessions at 11:30 a.m. We do not have to end this session promptly at 11:30. However, I do want to mention that the next group of sessions will include communications, biology, chemistry, and pre-health, physics and engineering physics, exercise science and sports studies, psychology, and then computer science, data science, and mathematics. So if any of you have interest in those programs, those sessions will be kicking off at 11:30. And if there are students and parents from the same family that are participating in this session, and one wants to hop over to another session, we certainly welcome you to divide and conquer. So with that, I am going to move over to the chat feature here just to see what questions are coming in. Students, parents, please feel free to go ahead and send those in. It looks like we have our first question here, which is, do you need to submit a separate application to get into the Boler College of Business?
Laura, why don't you answer that?
Come in. Oops, I'm muted, I think. No, I'm good.
You're
Can
good.
you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
It was saying I was muted by the host, so I apologize. But if you apply in the fall as a business student, you are automatically admitted. And even if you weren't sure then and you decide now, when you register for new student orientation, one of the options is to let you reassess that application and what major you want to go into, and that also will do it. It's only after your first semester that we sort of have some hoops to jump through, simply because you're slightly behind and we want to make sure you can get on track quickly.
Thank you.
Sure.
The next question that we have, how many classes do you have to take for the entrepreneurship minor if you are not a business major?
You would take 6. There would be an additional 1 class on sort of accounting finance, but not crazy detailed, scary stuff. And then 1 class on marketing stuff. So there'd be 6 total if you're not a business student.
Yeah, and so just to clarify, as Dr. Winkle just said, if you're not a business student, if you're a business student, it's just 4 extra classes. So it is a very doable minor with the business majors. We have probably, what would you say, Don, half and half liberal arts majors and the other half business majors?
Yep, it's right, just right down the line. So you get to mix with a lot of different majors in there, which is a pretty cool experience.
Our next question, what out-of-class activities are done in entrepreneurship, particularly examples of hands-on activities in the community?
Sure, we get students out interviewing customers quite a bit, so they have ideas they want to pursue, and we get them engaging with people who are potential customers and learning how to interview them and get information from them. Also, a lot of times working on projects with some companies or with little startups and trying to kind of prototype and experiment things. So they're very kind of micro projects, so they're easier to pick up and do as you're learning and practicing skills.
Great, thank you. Parents and students, feel free to continue sending in your questions through the chat. As you're doing that, I'll add a question, and that is, how easy is it for students to add a second major or perhaps another minor?
I can start at least talking about that a little bit. In our department, in the management human resources, marketing and supply chain, it is very easy to add a second major if you're a marketing and supply chain major. Those 2 majors are crossover a lot, and a lot of students do that. Outside of that, you have to work to make sure that you're going to get all the pieces to fit together. We have a lot of students who double major in different things. It might be Spanish and IBLC. In fact, most of the IBLC international business majors major in a language as well. That's another common double major there. But you might be communications and marketing. I once saw a philosophy and management double major. So it is doable, but outside some of the ones that are more compatible, you have to make sure you work to do it. You start from the beginning, you're taking classes in both, and you're working to do it, and anything is doable. You can take up to 18 credits a semester. Some students take summer classes. You don't have to do those things, and a lot of students do double major or minimally minor in something else.
Yeah, let me just add to that a little bit. It really, as Dr. Grancy said, it kind of depends on the combination, but most students, one of the things we do in the advising class your first semester is teach you sort of how to do a big picture and plugging in different majors and minors. And so that's when very early on we can show you how to do that and show you the opportunities to pick up some of those courses for a second major or minor as you do your university core. So for the leadership and the entrepreneurship, really, minors, for example, you have a lot of their courses also fulfill university core requirements. So that's a great way to add minors and things like that. So just a thought, but we do help you plan that early on.
And let me add too, the data science minor is becoming more and more popular with the business students. We can't push that enough in terms of where we're putting analytics into a lot of our classes, developing new classes, but we already have a great data science minor, and students are doing that right now. So it's a great minor to add, or to at least think about adding to your business major.
Awesome. Are there internships required for Boler students? Is that a requirement for everybody to be able to graduate?
Rick, I'll take it. Some of our majors in Boler have required internships. So out of this group represented, the MHR major and the marketing major and the IBLC require internships. The supply chain does not.
And let me add to that as well, in the sense that we want you to get the internships. That's why we require it. We help you, we guide you through the process. But you know what? You have to do the legwork. You have to get out there and you have to interview for them and find them. And we have an entire Boler professional development program where we help you from day one, interviewing skills, resume skills, networking skills. And this is just invaluable. You could pay tens of thousands of dollars to have that done through private seminars, and you get it for free at John Carroll. And it is a great program with very dedicated people. BPD Bob, you'll hear all about BPD Bob, who's been sending out videos to our students every single day. But they are great people doing a lot of great things with students, and these students are learning a lot of great things with this. It helps them on the job market.
And let me also add, even though about roughly half of our majors require an internship in Boler, over 90% of our students have done an internship by senior year. So again, even if it's a major that doesn't require it, we certainly are encouraging it, and we provide the opportunities for you to be able to attain it if that's what you want. And many of our students have had 2 and 3 internships before they graduate. Morgan, I think you had one as a freshman, if I recall.
Yeah, I've had about 3 since my time at John Carroll, so it's been fun and busy, but it's all good.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll also mention that you will have the opportunity to learn more about VPG Bob and the Boler Professional Development Program in a session that's going to be taking place at noon today. So be sure to check back for that to learn more about the program. It looks like we have another question that's just come in here. What will the core courses be prior to taking major courses? Also, is there only one subject or class for each major, or will there be multiple classes for each major?
I could start that, and Laura, you can also jump in. The students, all the business majors, and when you say core, so depending upon whether you're talking about business core versus liberal arts core, but let's talk about both. All the business majors, or at least people who think they want to be business majors, start off doing the same types of core classes. And these involve economics, accounting, and other types of classes. You then start getting into some of the sophomore and junior level classes. And I'll also add too, we have a data-driven decision-making class. Students are taking data-oriented classes from freshman and sophomore year, business communications. And then you start getting into some of the sophomore and junior level classes where you get the intro to marketing, intro to HR, intro to supply chain, intro to finance. So all business majors all look the same the first couple of years taking these types of classes while you're taking your liberal arts classes. And so yes, to answer one part of that question, there is in a sense 1, maybe 2 classes per each of the areas, and then you get into the major classes. So the major classes do primarily start around the beginning of your junior year. Some start them a little bit earlier if they can, but around the beginning of your junior year is when you get into all of your marketing or all of your IBLC or all of your extra accounting. That's where they would start really ramping up. Laura, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, and just to sort of answer the university core part of that, you would have most freshmen and sophomore students would take kind of the same requirements, but you might have a choice of 50 courses to fulfill that requirement. So you're definitely going to get some mixing around in there as well. You know, certainly if you're looking for variety, that's where you'll get it, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. The liberal arts core also crosses over with our business core. So when you take your economics class, that counts as a social science class in the core. When you take your calculus class, that counts as a science class in the core. I don't know how that happened, but it counts as a science class in the core. You have these different things that cross over along the way. The business ethics class that Dr. Giacalone teaches counts as one of your philosophy classes in the core. So we've married those two together. So while you're doing your business core and your liberal arts core, things are double counting between the two.
Yeah.
Our next question. What would you say sets John Carroll's business program apart from other colleges? What is most unique about it?
I mean, I could add in as a student what I think is most unique about it. You know, I talked about having internship experiences and, you know, getting all these great opportunities, but that's not out of the norm. That is the norm. We set the bar really high. Most of the students have 2 to 3 internships. Most of the students are walking out, you know, their junior year with a job offer already for after senior year. That is the norm for John Carroll. It's not unheard of. So I'm fortunate to be able to share my story, but that is the story of so many. So I would say the biggest thing that sets you apart is you are so ready for the real world once you graduate from John Carroll. So yes, you learn, but you are challenged. You are taught how to communicate with others, and your colleagues, your classmates, they challenge you and you challenge them, and it's fun. And I don't know, it really prepares you for the real world. So the norm is extremely successful. I would say that's what sets it apart as a student.
And let me add to that too, the faculty and alumni. So you have a lot of faculty in front of you right here. very experienced, well-qualified faculty with PhDs or doctorates from major universities, but they're here because they want to work with students. They want to help students. They want to interact with students. So they bring their expertise in, but not just in front of a classroom and just teaching at you. They want to help you learn, and they want to help you grow. And I can't say enough about the faculty, just a great set of faculty. And that goes also for the alumni. The people who graduate from John Carroll just love, they want to come back and help John Carroll and help the students at John Carroll. And so there's a great alumni network. So I think, you know, what Morgan said is definitely true. And I think I can add to that in terms of faculty and alumni.
And let me just add one other thing. I was reviewing the Outstanding Intern of the Year applications in the past week. And one of the employers who nominated their intern stated that this student was doing the analysis of an MBA graduate at the undergraduate level. And this student saved the company $500,000. And that's what he attributed to this particular student, all on their own. So that's pretty unique and pretty amazing to me.
I would add one more thing, just in the tradition of the Jesuit tradition of instilling values in our students, particularly as it applies to serving others. I've seen a couple of recent articles out right now during this pandemic about a few people who graduated with from a Jesuit program who are really coming across as true leaders today, and just really appreciated that and thought about it from our perspective of we really look for opportunities to instill that in our students, and even offering service learning projects in our classes to get hands-on experience.
Awesome. It looks like we've had another question come in, and we'll probably go ahead and make this our last question, just in the interest of time and allowing everybody to be able to continue on to next sessions here. For a supply chain major, what will the freshman year classes look like for that major? Someone mentioned accounting, economics, and I was wondering if you could go over that just one more time to share more. Looks like the student is asking about the business core in particular.
Should I
Laura,
field that?
Yeah,
Sure,
go ahead,
sure.
Laura, yeah.
Yeah, so typically before a student even attends new student orientation, we pre-register them for a number of courses, and that would be these sort of what we would be counted as the norm, if you will. So it would be microeconomics, this is in the fall semester, typically a language, typically either applied calculus or statistics, and then some university core courses as well. And that would be the typical first semester. Second semester would be macroeconomics, either if you did calc, you would do statistics and vice versa. Your second semester language, which most students end up with 2 semesters of a language as their requirement, but it is personalized depending on where you test into. And just more university core, we have the Excel course, Rick, that you're probably more, and Elena, more familiar with as well. Students take in there, I think I've covered everything, is that right? And then sophomore year is when you would get into accounting, typically.
And I think that's why it's important to also talk to the seniors and the juniors who are in the major and taking the courses, talk to the professors to learn more about the other majors, because you don't necessarily take a class in every major that first year.
Yeah. Now we also have block schedules for all our majors. So if you go to the Boler website under Boler Advising, you will see each major laid out with a 4-year plan, essentially fall, spring, fall, spring, fall, spring. And while you don't have to follow it exactly that precisely, it just gives you a roadmap. And then again, as part of that advising course, we're going to help you tailor that to you based on what classes you took in the fall, but also, do you want to add in a minor? Do you want to add a second major and all of that? And so that's just out there as sort of an example, I guess. But you can take a look at any of those for any of our majors.
And if I could just quickly add to that, and Sebastian, I know you want to jump in, but and so you know, a lot of students will hear those types of courses, you know, economics, accounting. Well, I'm talking to a group of management and HR and marketing and IBLC, and those are my areas of interest. And you know what? that's the way that sometimes things work. You have to kind of get some basic, you know, how does economics work? How does accounting work? You need some basics before you can move in and start thinking about how does marketing work? How does international business work? So don't let that, you know, make you nervous or scare you off. This is very typical in a lot of business programs, but we also engage you right from the beginning with Boler Professional Development, thinking about careers. And ultimately, all these things come together, and it works really well to get those foundational classes first, do some liberal arts, and then start getting into the majors. It works really well. And I see the students nodding their heads too in agreement as well. Yeah. Sebastian,
just to answer Clay's question directly, and so the first real supply chain class, the Intro to Supply Chain Management, you can take that the spring of your sophomore year, and we encourage you to take it then. So I look forward to seeing you in about 2 years from now.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all students for your thoughtful questions, and faculty and current students for sharing your insights. I did notice, as well as questions were coming in, that we've had a lot of contact information shared in the chat function. So we will be following up with an email to all of you admitted students who are joining us for this session to share that contact information and also some of the links on the Boler website. So all of that information will be sent to you as a follow-up. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to scramble to write it all down. As we wrap up this session, is there anything additional that any of our Boler faculty or current students were wanting to share that hasn't already come up in Q&A? Any last thoughts or words of wisdom for our students?
Well, let me also tell the students too, you know, again, we are here to help you throughout the whole process. That's why, you know, we love John Carroll. And in fact, that process continues into the summer. So as you come into John Carroll, your first advising sessions are with faculty members in order to pick out your classes for the fall. And Mrs. Atkins already referred to that. But, you know, we consider these to be fun things. We get to meet the students, meet the parents. And, you know, unfortunately this summer, I don't know if we'll be meeting you face to face, but ultimately these are things that we love to do. And we're here to help you along the way. And so look forward to see a lot of you attending in the fall and hopefully over the summer as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Last housekeeping note, as all of you have found this session on the jcu.edu/celebration site, you'll be able to find the links for our other sessions that are taking place today. Our next sessions will kick off at noon with Boler Professional Development and Career Services, followed by sessions at 12:30 with Residence Life and also a session for commuter students. And then last but not least, we'll have both parent and admitted student virtual receptions happening at 1 o'clock today. So please be sure to join us for those additional sessions that you're interested in. We will also be selecting winners for giveaways for all of our live session participants today. And then last but not least, I know some of our students joining us have already enrolled as part of the class of 2024. We can't wait to welcome you to campus this fall. And for those of you who have not enrolled yet, but are ready to officially do that, you can find that link right on the celebration site as well to access your JCU Gateway portal and to go ahead and confirm your enrollment at John Carroll. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of the virtual event.